Hello, welcome to the It's All Good show. Lucas here for a chat. My name is Denise Belisle, and I'm a serenity expert and positive intelligence specialist. Welcome to my show. I'm so excited to find you here. And before I forget, I want you to know that I want you to look me up for my other videos, and don't be shy to subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com at Denise / at Denise Belisle, where you can find me there. And also, if by the end of you're listening to this beginning of the call and you say by the end of this, I want to talk with her, and then you can. So you can look at my calendar and book a call with me, and I would be more than happy to have a conversation with you and see how I can support you, and if we can work together. But before we get started, I want to tell you why I call this show It's All Good. The reason why is because, first of all, it's my favorite cup. It's all good. Oh, in here, right here. It's all good. And I was, I was drinking water, mostly water out of that cup, and I was thinking, how would I call my show? And I was like, hey, it's all good. But in reality, this is something I always say. This is a saying that it became natural for me. If something upsetting happened, I don't get upset very long. Like, I get upset for a minute or two, and then I say, okay, what's the gift in that? It's all good. I can't change it. It's the past now. Whatever something situation that is upsetting that happened to you now, whoops, now it's the past. It's behind you. You can't change it. Even 1 second, it's behind you. You can't change these situation. So all you can do is look forward and say, hey, it's all good. I can't, what's the situation? How can I move forward now that this had happened? And it's the same thing with planning the future. We cannot really have a crystal ball and plan and know exactly how the future is going to happen. So when you're planning event, presentation, situation, wedding, whatever you're planning, vacation, you don't know everything that's going to happen. So just plan with the idea that, hey, have an open mind and say, hey, we're going there to rock. We're going there to have fun. We're going there to be 100% positive, have fun, and whatever happened. And when good thing happens, say, hey, it's all good. And when bad thing happens, say, hey, it's all good, because I can't change it. So keep that mentality in your mind. And for me, it's just my way of living, and that's how I develop so much serenity in my life, by not sweating on the small stuff, letting things pass by, and appreciating every second of my present moment. So without any further ado, let's welcome Jana Scholten, and she's a health mindset igniter. So let's welcome Jana. Jana, I'm so happy to have you here today with me, and it's such a pleasure. We've tried to have that call a few times, and I'm so glad that we finally were able to connect and be together here today. So welcome, and glad to have you here.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Good. So, what is a health mindset igniter? So, I'm very curious of what you do. Can you tell me a little bit more about yourself?
Sure. I'll just start out with my who I am. So my name is Jana Scholten, and I should be in a wheelchair by now. In March of 2000, I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, MS, and I was told I'd be disabled within 10 years.
Oh my God.
So I decided to take my life by the bullhorns, and I became a vegan triathlete, a meditation guru, and I visualized my way into true health.
I
And
love that.
today, I'm in benign status. I'm drug free, symptom free, and a healthy endurance athlete. So, over the past 2 years, I actually wrote my best selling book called Enchanted Wellness: How to Go from Hating Disease to Loving It, and which actually became an Amazon bestseller.
Mm.
Um, I guide and I coach others to thrive beyond their autoimmune diagnosis based on my own healing journey. And why the Mindset Health Igniter is because um, I feel like health really the most important aspect is having the right mindset first,
Yeah,
and then
absolutely. I agree with
once you
you.
do, then you can do anything per se, pretty
Wow,
much.
that's amazing. So, you said that you were diagnosed with MS in 2000,
Hmm.
and you were symptom free in 2008.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
And that's pretty amazing, because otherwise they say you would not have been walking in 2008. You would have been, bound to a wheelchair and being stuck with that illness. And So what happened between 2000 and 2008? Like, I mean, we don't have an hour here, but
Right.
what were the, because we can talk about it forever. Buy your book if you want to know more. But what is the big changes that happen in your mind, and what physically have you done in order to create those changes?
Hmm. Um, well, I mean, at first, when I was diagnosed, I was really mostly in fear, and I did what was comfortable and what was known, which was trust the person in the white coat
Yeah, yeah, for
per
sure, for
se.
sure, for
And
sure.
I, entered myself into a clinical study. I did the Western medicine route. I
Yeah,
took a drug, which was shooting myself with needles every day. And I did that for several years. And then I really realized, I mean, I wasn't getting any better. I was actually getting worse. I was kind of on a downward,
nothing was helping, pretty much. That's
nothing
what you
was
were saying.
helping it. And then it, became resistant to the drugs, developed antibodies, and they no longer worked. And um, it was my aha moment was I did a personal development course. And after doing that course, essentially I was having an MS attack of complete vertigo, and I woke up after I was ready to put my tennis shoes on, and I fell over with complete vertigo, and I didn't know what to do. So I called up my friend David, who was a coach in that program I was in, and I told him what was happening, and that I couldn't move, I couldn't walk, and I was supposed to lead an event that night, which he was helping me with. And um, he essentially really brought me to my aha moment, because he said to me, "Well, do you realize that you're always there, and that when you have these attacks, and that you actually could have something to do with it?" And I was like, "What? I have nothing to do with it.
I'm
MS
not
just happened
responsible.
to
That's the
me."
disease, right? Like,
I'm
it's not
like,
my fault.
I'm a victim. I can't do anything about it. And he's like, "Well, I just want you to think maybe you could, because what were you
Ah,
thinking before you had the attack?" And I was like,
I'm
"Oh, my
nervous
head
about my
was just
event.
like, I can't lead this event. I suck." And he's like, "Maybe just consider that your body's reacting to the
Your
thoughts in your
self-talk.
head."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Whoa." That might be too much, but I actually took what he had to
It's like,
say.
I love you, David, but I hate you, right?
Yeah, I was like, he was a Navy SEAL, former Navy SEAL, so he was a little bit harsh in my
Very
face,
harsh. Yeah, he didn't go
and
with the soft side.
military, like, but so I mean, I took what he had to say. I took a nap, and I woke up a few hours later, and the attack was gone, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Whoa! Like, how did that happen?" Because I entire like several years before that I had MS, that I was experiencing MS in that moment. The attacks would last weeks to months at a time, where I'd be completely disabled. I wasn't able to go to work,
Oh,
and it went away within 4 hours. So that's why I was like, "Holy crap! This must be what they call
wow.
mind body medicine." So
Yeah, yeah.
that put me on the path of mind body medicine, because I had a friend several years or a few years before that told me about mind body medicine, but I didn't really do anything about it. I didn't attend. But then after that aha moment, I was like, "Wow, I better research this stuff, because maybe there's something to it." And so that's when I entered myself in the mind body medicine course, and learned all about stress reduction and gratitude and forgiveness, and essentially that started me on my journey,
Wow,
really.
that's pretty awesome. And that, how many years within, like, which year was that? Like, how many years within your illness that this
Oh,
happened?
um, gosh, it was probably 6 years into it, after it, when
So,
I did
which
that.
means, if I understand well, then within 2 years after that, you were able to change your life.
Yeah, yeah, because
That's pretty
I
amazing.
yeah, I mean, I also use visualization, which I learned from a therapist at the Mind Body Institute. They don't
Yeah.
necessarily teach that, but she taught it, because she was a therapist for mostly cancer patients, and then she gave me the belief that I could heal myself from with using visualization, because she had cancer patients that had shrunk golf ball size tumors in their
Yeah.
brain and in their body, and I was like, "Well, can I do that?" And she's like, "Of
Of
course."
course you
Like,
can.
not only we don't save this stuff for Olympic athletes, she's
Yeah.
like, "It works for everything." So with the belief of her stories and her, her patients, things like that, and the confidence I got from my personal development courses that I did, um, I I was, like gung ho, like I can do this, and that I also had a community of people who believed in possibility and things like that. So I was inspired and essentially went for it, like committed, like kind of like the Navy SEAL. Like every single night before I went to bed, I did the visualization,
Wow.
relentless, did my gratitude journal. I did everything they
Yeah.
said. Like,
And it works. I
and
mean, these things are not like people see that as woo woo stuff, and all that, but
right.
our mind are the most powerful tools that we
Mhm.
have to change our life.
Yeah, exactly.
Because
Exactly.
I keep saying that, like, whatever you think, whatever you say, and however you act, that's what you'll get as a result. So if you have negative thinking and you speak negative words, and then you do negative action, then why are you expecting things to turn out positively, right? I mean,
Right.
that's not going to work out. Like, if and people don't understand also that the mind doesn't understand the negative. If I say don't think about a pink elephant, all of you right now just saw a pink elephant floating, right? Like, I mean, because the mind is a pink elephant, or don't think about what's in your fridge, then you already see the chicken you had last night that's leftovers, and you see the carton of milk, or you see whatever, right?
Mhm.
So the mind, like whatever we tell ourselves, like if you don't say I don't want to be broke, then your brain say I'm going to be broke. But if you say, hey, live in abundance and I have more money than I need, and there's always more coming my way, then that's what your brain's going to bring you, right? So that
Yeah.
works both ways. That's what the visualization and the gratitude works. So I'm super excited that that's what you applied in your life and how that works. But
Hmm.
now tell me, you also changed beside your mindset. What else have you changed? Did you change your diet too?
Yeah, I did. I mean, after I had shrunk the lesions in my brain using visualization, and most of my symptoms pretty much, disappeared, but I was still taking a drug, and that was like shooting myself with needles, and it caused me to be sick every day. So that
Yeah.
wasn't working for me. Um, so I was in like a MS support group of kind of alternative women who essentially a lot of them had changed their diets and they were healthy. And I remembered that. I wasn't in that group at the time, but I remembered that. And I thought, wow, that's interesting. And then um, back, there was I was a triathlete back then too, because the doctor told me I'd be disabled within 10 years. So I had this timeline of being
I
a
got to
triathlete,
accomplish before I'm
doing
disabled
everything
completely.
fitness, crazy fitness I could while I could. And I mean, if I even had to learn how to swim, which was amazing. But um, so ironic or coincidentally, it was almost like I went to this bookstore and it was almost like the book almost fell onto me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But when
It
you
was
when you're open, things happen
yeah,
to you, right?
and it was by this triathlete. His name is Brendan Brazier, a professional triathlete, and he was talked and it was called Thrive. And and it was really about just becoming more plant-based and eating, because it reduces inflammation and
Mhm,
it's
mhm.
it for heat. I mean, athletes do it because it's easier to digest and they have more energy to perform.
Yeah,
um and so I was like, wow. And but I mean, I was a meat and potatoes kind of girl. I grew up on a
yeah, yeah.
farm. And
Omnivore.
but I I just read his book, and he said start by eating a salad a day, and I'm like, okay,
Mhm.
I could
I
do
can
that.
do that. Yeah.
I can do that. So that's what I did, and I slowly, very slowly. It took probably a couple years, honestly, to go from meat based to plant based, but I'm fully plant based now.
Mhm.
And um, yeah, I mean, it has a huge impact on your body. I mean, it has a huge impact on your gut microbiome, which we need like 26 fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds a week for your
Yeah.
gut to be healthy.
Mhm.
And if you're not, don't get that, if your gut's not happy, your body's not happy. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
um, yeah, and I had a partner. I mean, he was my community support partner per se. He was when my husband was doing it right alongside of me. So that was really,
That
really.
helps a lot
Oh
to have
yeah,
someone that supports you like that. I think that's
yeah.
amazing.
So that made a huge difference.
Cool. So tell me
Yeah.
a little bit about your book. What's your title again?
Oh, Well, it's backwards, I guess, if I show it here, right?
So,
um, but it's Enchanted Wellness: How to Go from Hating Disease to Loving It. And
wow. So that's very intriguing. So tell me about how you came about to write that book,
mm,
and like hating disease. So tell me more about why you picked that title. And
mm. Well, why I wrote the book is because people over the years just kept saying, "You need to write a book. You need to write a book. You need
yeah,
to write a
yeah,
book."
such an amazing experience for sure.
And then COVID happened, and I was in marketing and events. Let's put it that way. So I had plenty of time to write my book after that. So, but the title "How to Go from Hating Disease to Loving It" is because I really realized that when I had MS, I was really pissed off at it, and I was young. I was in my 30s, and I was single, and I really thought I was like broken goods, and no
Mhm.
one would want me because I had this disease. And I was just so angry. I was
Mm,
angry at my body and pissed that I got this stupid thing, and didn't feel good, and I was in my prime, prime age, and why did I have to get? It was really just really in victim mentality,
yeah.
and um, didn't really realize it until that I did those personal development courses, which had me kind of wake up and see how I was being around the disease. And then I was like, after I did those courses that had me wake up, I started to realize that I could be grateful for it. And I started to look at like how I could be grateful for it. And
What
um,
can I be grateful for right now? And
yeah, and I started to see it instead of being angry at it, I would get like symptoms. Um, I would I would go, okay, how can I be grateful for what's happening right now? And like if I would get numbness or a little bit of dizziness, things like that. And so then I would just go through a series of questions like, so who am I being? What am I saying to myself? Those were mostly negative
mhm,
thoughts.
mhm,
Um, and then um, I would just go, okay, so who can I be, or who do I want to be? And then obviously healthy, vibrant health, athletic
yeah,
joy,
yeah, yeah.
things like that. And then I was just really create that into being. And then eventually, after I did that a series of times, I got to a point where I could just like disappear the symptoms
Isn't that
in a
amazing,
moment.
eh?
And I really realized it was because I saw MS, instead of being angry at it, I started really being grateful for it, and then using that process that I used, and saw it like, oh, my body's just trying to talk to me. It's
Yes.
saying like, you're listening to the negative mind chatter,
Use it as a
you're
signal.
being mean to yourself, like stop that, like just wake up. Like what are you saying to yourself? And is that true? No, it's not true. It's just the negative chatter.
Yeah.
And so then I started like, oh, okay, so my body is stressed. Why is it stressed? What can I do about that? So,
Mhm.
and so that shift was really what that profound, like the more I loved it and more was grateful for it, the better it got. And eventually ended up dissolving. So I think what you love appreciates, that saying that what you love and appreciates, it appreciates more. And I guess
Mhm.
it happens with money too.
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying by really, because people don't realize that our bodies is talking to us all the time, right? Like
Mhm.
I I remember I have a quick example of how my body was talking to me and I was not listening, and then it gave me a big signal. I took a vacation in 2018 and I really needed a vacation. I really need some time off, and I was like, okay, I gotta go on vacation and relax and just hang out and do nothing and all that. First day I was in Hawaii. First day I get to Hawaii, put my running shoes on at 7 a.m. and go run for, like half an hour or whatever and come back. And I come back and I was like, oh, my knee's hurting, right? That's weird,
Mm.
you know? So and then during the day, my friend and I, we would go like sightseeing and do this and do that and be super busy and not relaxing. And then go to bed the next day, get up early and go do my run. It's like, oh, my really hurts, like, and then, okay, I'll walk instead and say, okay, I walk. And then I get, back to the hotel and again, go to the day, go here, go there, do this, do that. Then the third day, I said, okay, I'm just going to walk. But then I go for a walk and then I come back and I ran and walk more, and then I get to the hotel. I was like, wow, my back is hurting. Like out of nowhere, right? All of a sudden I have a major spasm in the back. I was like, what the hell's going on? My back's hurting. So I told my friend, I said, I think I need to go see a chiropractor. So luckily there was one not too far. So I go see a chiropractor and then he does a few adjustments and then so that was like 3-4 days down the road, and then it started to get slightly better, and then he did some work on my knee too and tried to fix me, right? And then again, busy, go here, go there. Saturday, okay, let's go zip lining, let's go. And so we went zip lining, and then the first jump that I did with a zip lining, my foot got stuck underneath me and I broke my ankle. So
Oh,
out of a
wow.
2 week vacation, then guess what happened in the last? So I was not listening to my body, right? Like I was
Oh.
not relaxing, I was not taking it easy, I was not slowing down, I was not. And then with the body, it's like, okay, well, I'm going to put you on your back for the next week and the next 3 months. So you'll listen to really pay attention when I'm telling you to slow down. And these were little signal that if I had listened to it, I would say, okay, let's just tell my friend, okay, let's just lay down, on the beach for a day and relax. And, I'm sure the series of events would not have happened because I was just like, no, I gotta get going. I gotta do this. I gotta do that. I gotta be busy. I gotta run here, run there, do this, do that. And my body was saying, no, you need to relax. You're here on vacation. Slow down, relax, lay down, sleep until 9 if you have to. For me, it's late. I usually up at 6. And it's just like I was not listening. And eventually, I ended up the last week of my vacation on my back because it was a really bad break. And I think I broke my ankle plus twisting it, like tearing all
Oh,
the ligament and like everything, like it
wow.
was a balloon, and it was very, very, very painful. So and back home, I couldn't walk on it for 3 months because it was so painful.
Oh,
It took a
wow.
while to heal. So I was like, okay, now I'm listening. When my body's talking to me, I'm listening. But that's what happened, right? Like things happen on a consecutive ways that we're not listening, we're not paying attention. So I think that's important to also pay attention when the body's talking. And you've mentioned to me that you talk a lot about forgiveness and love. These are major theme in your book. So can you talk a little bit about this, and why did you bring that up in the book?
Hmm. Um, well, I mean, it's also relating to the body, but forgiving yourself for either having a health condition or a sore back or things like that. But it's not just because what I realized was when I forgave myself for having MS and really started to love myself. That was when things started to, like, the turning point was for me. I remember it was like the first Valentine's Day that I was okay with being single.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and before I would always dread it. And it was, yeah, it was like the first one I was like, okay, I love myself. I'm
Mm.
perfect the way I am, and I'm perfect the way I'm not. Just really self acceptance. Um, but also, in addition to that, I mean, before that or alongside of that, I had some traumas in my past growing up, and a lot of anger towards my father and my older brother who had abused me in different ways. And all that anger. Like another book, which is obviously very popular. The guy doesn't need any promotion, but it's Your Body Keeps the Score by
Yeah,
Bessel van der Kolk.
Yeah.
Um, it's it was just so powerful because I had so much anger towards other people, and then but my body was holding in all that anger.
Mm.
Um, and it was and until I forgave my father and then my brother for the things that had happened, and I mean, I couldn't have a conversation with my father because he was already passed, but I wrote a letter to him, and I mean, I actually forgave him, and forgiveness is continuous because
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
the abuse doesn't go, the whatever traumas are still in your head, and like, you just have to say thanks for sharing.
Yeah,
This is what we're gonna
absolutely. Yeah,
be.
I agree with you. Yeah.
Um, but was really I sort of really worked on, I mean, forgiving my father for the abuse that had occurred, and then also forgiving my older brother for things that had happened, and then I ended up actually becoming friends with my brother. It was for sexual abuse, and
Yeah.
becoming really good friends with him, which was really freeing and gratifying to get to know him, and for myself and for him, in our own healing journeys. But
Because these are things of the past, like the action that he took in the past was
yeah,
the person he was at the time.
right, he
And
was a drug addict essentially.
yeah,
I
exactly.
mean,
So
you do things. So yeah, I mean, I was angry at him, and it was,
yeah,
and until then, honestly, coincidentally, I mean, I met my husband 6 months after I forgave my father and my brother. It was amazing, right? I mean,
you were more open to receiving love now that you were more loving towards yourself. Your cup
yeah,
was full of your own love, so you were able to give more love to others, but also to receive, right?
yeah. So I mean, forgiveness is just key for others, for releasing all the stress from your body, because your
Yeah,
body does keep the score, like the psychiatrist mentions in
yeah,
his book, and it holds on to it until you do some kind of work to release that. So um, yeah, it's key in healing, I think, and then loving yourself. I mean, because if you don't love yourself, you're not gonna change.
yeah.
You don't have the capacity, because you have to love yourself first. And
And also, you talk about forgiveness to other people, but I'm sure you had a lot of forgiveness to yourself too, right?
yeah, I
Because
mean,
how
yeah,
often we're
yeah,
upset about things we've done, and we're angry about ourselves, and
right. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Like, a lot of people who are, um, I mean, if you've gone through abuse, especially sexual abuse, usually you blame yourself for some reason.
mhm,
It's strange, especially if it
yeah,
happened before the age of 7, and you don't really realize that. But I mean, like, I was blaming myself,
I'm
and
a bad girl, like a
yeah, right. I had nothing to do with it,
yeah,
really. But yeah, you blame yourself and you're not really present to it. But yeah, so you have to forgive yourself for, you know, first, and then you can
yeah.
forgive
Have a
others.
lot of compassion, self-compassion, and love for sure. That's
Yeah,
beautiful. So you
yeah.
talked, and that's, I think it's important to mention that also in your book, especially because often people will read it and say, "Wow, yes, that's true." People will identify for that 100% because so many people live in anger and resentment and
Hmm.
lack of self-love and judgment and all these things. That's what keeps us down. That's what keeps us in pain and in disease. And things
Hmm.
come to us for a reason, and they leave us for a reason too, right? When you're able to love yourself so much more.
Yeah, right. It makes a huge difference. It's one of the keys to healing. That's why I wrote a memoir. I mean, I shared my story, but my healing journey was throughout the whole story, and then part of it's how to as well. So,
Yeah, yeah.
um,
So
it's
tell me now that you've walked that path and you've done all that and you wrote that book. So tell me, like, what work do you do now, Lux? How do you help people?
well, I mean, I take them through. I coach people on um, essentially the journey that they can take and the different steps they can take. First, I start off with mindset, but going through, mind body medicine principles, and also first mindset, mind body medicine, and then some lifestyle um, changes as well. So yeah.
And is it mostly people with degenerative disease like MS, or is it just with people with MS or any type of
No, I mean,
illness?
I currently have a cancer patient and then another something else, right? Different conditions as well. So
Because I
it's
imagine that cancer is very similar in a way that MS would come to someone, right?
yeah, I mean,
My
there's a lot of things that are
similarities.
there's a lot of, I mean, I would say all disease has a, common thread. It's either lifestyle stress, nutritional stress, past-based stress,
Yeah.
or environmental stress. I mean, it's, it's something, it's whatever, everybody has a different scenario, but it's
Hmm.
all related. Yeah, it's all reduced. And not stress isn't all bad. It's just that if it's amplified, it's too much,
Of
that
course, of course. So people can reach you if they have any question, right?
yeah, yeah,
So
you
you
can,
have a website which I have here.
right. JanaScholten.com, or Scholten, if you, that's easier to spell probably.
And on your website you have a section like contact me, and people can,
Yeah,
see
yeah.
how
I
they
mean,
can work with you or just book a call with you. Is that available there?
yeah, you can book a call through my website as well. Yeah, there's a little pop up. You can sign up for my newsletter, which I don't. It's like a monthly
Yeah,
newsletter.
yeah, cool.
But you don't have to if you don't. I think there's a schedule available without signing up if you don't want to sign up. But in order to get the free gift today, you do need to sign up for that. That's
Mhm.
um
So tell us about the free tips, the free 10-step guide. What can people expect with that?
well, essentially it's I could say it's my program and a guide. Yeah, it's the 10 steps that I find them are the key elements of that of my journey that I used in healing and recovering fully from multiple sclerosis. So
Wow, it's
yeah.
amazing. It's pretty amazing. And so do you have, well, so I hope people reach out to you because I mean your story is extraordinary. And there's so, and if you know people that are listening, if you know anyone that has MS for one thing, or any degenerative disease, make sure that you put them in touch with Jana, because I mean she can support them and help them work a path of health. I can't say that she's going to help them eliminate it because everybody is
Right,
different, but
right.
even just being able to eliminate symptoms or eliminate pain or
Mhm.
feel better, like all these things, like if you could feel better and have being able to do a triathlon like Jana's working towards. I mean, it's amazing. So, do you have any last tip you would like to share with people?
Um, you don't have to be a triathlete, but
Yeah.
I did plenty of them. And that's a lot of training, but um, yeah, just I mean, love yourself and
Mm.
forgive yourself, and love your condition, love your body versus hating your body and your disease, because great things will come to you as a result. So
It's beautiful.
yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So, stay there. I'll be right back with you. Thank you, everyone, for listening. I hope you get great benefit from listening to Jana. And again, I invite you to, if you want to follow more of the videos that I have and all the amazing guests that I've had, follow me on YouTube. And if you want to book a call with me, you can always reach me at tiny.cc/talk with Denise. And I would be more than happy to have a conversation with you. So until next time, be kind to one another, and I'll be back next week with another guest. Take care.